My Tesla has fart mode, just so everybody's aware. If you guys didn't know, the Tesla has what's called fart mode, and you can make it fart. Just gonna drive. What's up, Padriac? Padriac? Padric? I don't know how to say that name, man. Sorry. California mom. What's up? Hey, everybody in California drives a Tesla, right? So you guys should all have Teslas. Can you hear this fart? West Virginia. I hate driving next to transport trucks. So dang, how close this guy is. Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate it. The mic is bad. I've ordered a different mic. Also, because I'm like on the highway, and so I'm driving next to a transport truck, and everything's super loud. But I've got a mic coming, so that should be good. Does it sound like I'm talking through a potato? Tomato. All right, Texas, 109 degrees. Seattle. Is Chaz Chop still a thing in Seattle right now? Is that still going on? Have they dismantled it? I don't hear anything about it on Twitter anymore. It's bright. Ooh. I sound like your brother? You must sound super cool. Like totes. It is gone, okay. I've heard Colorado is really nice. Like a lot of mountains? Or is that somewhere else? Alabama. Roll Tide. I don't know what Roll Tide means, but I like saying it. It has something to do with your football team? I love Scotland. Oh wait, that was a bad accent, but I like Scotland. I'd like to go someday. Yeah, it sounds like FM, like very like low res. I hear you. I'm driving a Tesla, Casey. It drives itself. Yes, the Rocky Mountains. I was trying to read some of the comments on my last live view. Some people were hating on me about the Catholic comments. So I was just coming on to say, look, all religions have some craziness, okay? None are good or bad or whatever, and some are good or bad, and some all have good things about them. But I'm just at a time in my life where I'm just so sick of religion. And I think a lot of people wake up and have this awakening from religion. Basically, they graduate from this Sunday morning and they graduate from it and they become like different. They understand it. Thank you, Kathy. And so there's nothing wrong with any of these churches per se. Like, I don't ever want to just bash a church for bashing a church. And I don't think that's, that's not the reason I do all this stuff. But if we continue to stay silent on the major issues, especially if you're a believer, right? A lot of you aren't, but especially if you are, then you're just as complacent and just as much to blame as the next guy, because the church isn't leaders. The church is a community, and I keep saying that. We are. It's ours to guard and protect and everything else. The community itself, not just the buildings. So just wanted to point that out. I have lots of Catholic friends. I have lots of atheist friends. I have lots of agnostic friends. I understand all viewpoints, and that's kind of what sets me apart, I think. And so I just want to make sure you guys realize I'm not just bashing religions and all this stuff, but I definitely have some problems with almost every religion, including the one that I followed for years, okay? Like, there are major problems. And so if you don't want to talk about them, then you don't want to watch this, because we're going to get into the major problems. The good stuff is there, and we can talk about the good stuff all day long, but it's just, there's stuff that needs to be talked about, and hardly anybody talks about it. And those who do talk about it just get painted with a tinfoil hat, and you're like, oh, you don't know anything about it. I lived the life. For 7 years, I was a minister and a pastor, and I know exactly what it's like. And I'm not afraid to talk up, so that's why I'm doing this. I just wanted to make sure people knew I'm not hating on religion at all. Sort of, but not really. I definitely hate on parts of it. Does that make sense? This lemonade from Wendy's. Anyway, I just wanted to say that because there are people out there who are going to be offended. But here's my question to you, those people who get offended by people bashing your religion, like say Catholics or Christians or Mormons or Seventh-day Adventists or whatever. Why do you care so much about people bashing? What is your religion? What has your religion done for you? Religion is literally like a man-made like thing. It's not something God, I think, mandated. Stop protecting religion and start guarding your relationship. So, religion is not, like, it can do some great things, like the institutional religious place does great things, feeds homeless people, it raises money, and it does everything else, and it builds into communities, and it sends missionaries, and it feeds people, and it builds wells in Africa and all this stuff, and that's amazing. But personally, religion does nothing for you in your faith. Your faith is what does that for you. Your personal relationship is what does that for you. A religion does not do that for you. So too many people are standing up and like, don't bash my religion. It's nothing to do with your religion. You can stand outside of a religion and be just as good or better a believer than anything before. So this is gonna get fiery. That's why I'm starting another channel. I don't want to get canceled on this channel. I'm not even sure. I think I might have started the Burnt Out Pastor on YouTube. If it's out there, someone see if you can find it. Your religion is your tribe. That's a good one. I really like that someone said that. Your religion is kind of like I guess it's a tribe. I would consider your tribe as your group of people that you hang around and that you have like-mindedness with. And I guess, yes, the type of church you go to could be your tribe. That's a really great way of explaining it. So that's the tribe, the stripes that you wear, following that type of, those parameters around that faith. That makes sense to me. I really like that. And sadly, we do need a label. You're right. And so you can say, well, what are you? Well, I'm Catholic, so I believe that I have to have a rosary and I have to go confess my sins in a little booth, and I have to take a communion on Sunday, and I have to do all that. I have to go through this process of communion and what's the thing called where they study and they do all this stuff, catechism and all that stuff. And so that's just kind of like, and I was baptized as a child, and that's kind of my way into heaven, and it's not, but that's another way. And then you can say, well, I'm non-denominational, which basically is like, I go to a church that has no gospel centricity whatsoever. I go to a church that has a Starbucks in the lobby. That's non-denominational. My pastor doesn't speak of the gospel, and we do TED Talks on Sunday. That's non-denominational, right? So, and if you talk about Mormons, you could say fundamentalist Mormons are, the Mormon culture, though, is a little bit different for me. It's a little bit, I studied that for a while. I was really close friends with a girl who was a Mormon, and she was becoming an ex-Mormon and telling me all about the story about Mormons and Scientologists and all this great stuff. So it is true. It's about stripes. It's about your tribe. And so when you say I'm Catholic, other Catholics say, okay, I know what you believe, and I kind of understand that. That was a really great point someone said there. I really like that. So it's not that it's a bad thing. Not always, but sometimes it is. And so if we don't talk about that thing sometimes, and we just let it go, that one thing can expound, and it can like compound and get worse and worse and worse. And then things like abuse happen inside the church because pastors think they're untouchable. Cliques are dangerous. Yes, they really are. Tribes, though, not really. You kind of can choose your tribe. I love the way the world is kind of right now. Like when I was in high school, I was in the nerd tribe or whatever you call it, the tribe that got my ass kicked every day because I was poor. So I was basically a tribe with a couple other kids. But I love the way the world is working a little bit better these days. The tribes, although they are becoming bigger and more powerful, it's more political than anything else before. But anyway, I like that. That was really cool. I'm about to get into this whole thing on the burnt out pastor. So when I get home tonight, I've got a little bit of work to do. Then I'm gonna get into part 2 of my story, and I'm low key nervous, guys. Like I watched my video today, and I'm passionate about it. When I get passionate about things, sometimes I say things, and I mean them, but some people just like want to just find that thing. So I'm low key nervous. I want to let you guys know I told you I would tell you my story, and I'm going to tell you my story. It's going to get crazy. Don't get offended. I don't like giving money to the church. Yeah, can I tell you guys something about what you should do with your money if you tithe? Look, I happen to be a guy that believes that tithing is really important. That God said in the Bible, and this is one of the things that's always stuck out to me. God says, don't test me in anything. Don't test me. Have faith and believe, right? You should just have faith and believe. And that's hard for a lot of people. But he said, in this, test me. I can't tell you how good and more blessed my life got when I learned how to tithe. And I'm just saying, tithing doesn't necessarily mean you give money to the church. It can mean that. Right? Yeah, Book of Job. It can mean that. But man, if you're going to tithe in the name, as long as you're tithing in the name of Jesus, like you're saying, I'm giving this because Jesus wants me to be generous with what I have, that's great. You can literally give that to anybody. Homeless people, food banks, missionaries, nonprofit organizations. It doesn't have to be the church. Everybody thinks you have to tithe to the church. That's total BS. Total BS. As long as you're tithing with a heart, a glad heart, generous heart, in Jesus' name, to no matter what, that's a tithe. Just because you not get a tax return from it doesn't mean it's not a tithe. You can tithe with your time. Those people who don't have a lot of money to tithe money, like a lot of churches don't like them. They don't give you the time of day. Tithing with your time is sometimes more valuable, right? My time is worth a lot of money in my industry, right? I charge sometimes upwards of $200 an hour for what I do. Okay, so my time is very valuable as far as I'm concerned. I've put that value on my time. And so when I tithe those talents to the church or to a pregnancy center or to a place that I believe in, I'm tithing that amount of money that they wouldn't have to pay anymore. So I'm going to do a whole video on tithing someday. But yeah, tithing is crazy. Don't give money to the church, but don't not give money when you can be generous, if you can be generous. Because lots of people could use that money. Churches, small churches could use your money. Big churches don't need your money. I'm like, don't give your money to big churches. They run on massive budgets, and they spend like 60 to 80% of it on salaries. So if you're going to help, if you feel like you're a Christian and you want to help church, and even if you go to a big church, okay, even if you do, give your tithe to a small church that you don't even go to. They need your money. That's what I do. You don't even have to tell anybody. I'm just saying, I shouldn't have told you that, but you don't have to tithe. Yes, Night Runner got your Chachi shirt. Awesome. Anyway, I'm just about to pull over to the camera store. Don't tell my wife. I need a couple of things. I love camera equipment, and my wife doesn't like that I buy camera equipment because I always call my wife from the camera store and be like, guess where I am? I need this thing. And it's always a long conversation while I'm trying to find a good deal and stuff. How many people in this chat right now go to church? Ooh, I'm tired. Nice. I'm noticing that lots of people don't go, and that's kind of crazy. So do stories like this intrigue you because you want to feel like justified in not going, or you're just interested in the culture of the church, because it's interesting to me to find out why this is such a popular thing and why people want to hear it so badly. I went to Niagara on the Lake, so it was really nice. Beautiful house that I took photos and video of. Really, really nice house. If I had $800,000, I would buy it right now. Church does have a lot of dirty secrets. I'm going to tell you guys how churches are run in the upcoming episodes and how they don't want you to see how it's run, because it's always run by a bunch of, generally a couple of dudes or 3 or 4 really rich people who are interested in that. My Tesla's yelling at me. He thinks I'm going outside the lines, but it's just because I was merging into a lane. Once didn't get hired from a church because you never donated to them. Churches need to chill on the tithe money, man. Chill. And they always increase their budgets. They're always like, oh, we need to find way more money every single year. Well, JP, part 2 is going to be cray. How about I don't overblow this thing? Like, I'm like telling you guys it's like the craziest thing. Like, they push me off a building or something like that. I'm definitely hyping it because to me, it was one of the biggest events in my life that has led me to where I'm sitting right now, actually. So, good and bad. Yeah, blind faith is true. If you guys get a moment, go check out, if you're doing drives or whatever, go check out the Bad Christian podcast. I love those guys. Kind of gave me my inspiration to do the Burnt Out Pastor. And Bad Christian podcast is awesome. This is a bunch of Christian guys who played in a band called Emery, and one of them was a pastor. I think he's gone now. But they're Christians and they just swear, and it's awesome. I love swearing. So as a pastor, it was always like, I hate swearing, but I love swearing. It's one of my things. It's one of my vices. We're almost at the camera store. Don't tell my wife. Crazy. Pastor was fired because the church wasn't growing. I'm going to do just a whole episode on why churches have the worst carpets in the world. Have you ever heard of like churches splitting over like decorations inside the church? It's a thing. And that speaks volumes about the people that go to these places. I can't believe churches kick people out for getting divorced. That to me is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Church is supposed to be a place for everybody. It's supposed to be a place for sinners, quote unquote, and for everybody, and grace. And so when someone sins, you're out. Except everybody in that building has sinned and is sinning all the time. It's mind-blowing to me that churches kick people out for being divorced. Mind-blowing. What a bunch of idiots. Jeez. Churches. So much politics inside church. Cliques. Fundies. What's up? Tesla Dad here. Don't forget, guys, if you're gonna go buy a Tesla, you make sure you use my code. It's in my Tesla video back in the thing. Or just message me and I'll send you the code. Micah's not religious. Micah used religion as an algorithm. She's definitely not. They are just using that. And though 8 passengers, Ruby is definitely Mormon religious. 100%. Yep. I think it was L. Ron Hubbard who said, if you want to become rich, start a religion. And then he's created Scientology. Scientology is crazy. It blows my mind that people like Tom Cruise, who I think is a probably super highly intelligent person, believes in Scientology. It's crazy. It's literally a religion based on a book by L. Ron Hubbard about like aliens in space and making dolls. Nuts. Like robot dolls. How can you believe something so crazy? It's mind-blowing. And be intelligent. That's crazy. But look, some of the most intelligent people in our history and past have a faith in Jesus, though. Like, here's what I grew up understanding. The reason that religion, like Christian religion, like the Jesus religion of God and Jesus, is the one that's right, is it's always because it's the one about love, and like without parameters, right? It's never the one about hate or judgment or whatever, although it happens to be. The people inside of it do that stuff, but it's always been the religion of love, where it's like we love you and that's the end of it. And that's why people that's why it still grows to this day. Is this closed here? Man, I went all the way to the camera store and it's closed. Let me check. All right, I gotta go. You guys are amazing. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning when I throw up my new video. Gonna be crazy. Bye.